What would it feel like to be truly, deeply happy, regardless of your circumstances? Did you know that happiness is a choice and not a result? That you can create your life on purpose? Join us now to learn more. This is the Time to Rise and Thrive radio show. And here's your host, mindset coach, and facilitator of change, Jackie Mott.
Hello and welcome to Time to Rise and Thrive. Happy Friday. This is a good day. I am having a really great day. So we're going to bring some of that energy up today. Yay. So I am your host, Jackie Mott. You are with me on Time to Rise and Thrive on Inspired Choices Network. And today we are talking about facing your fears. Can you imagine? Facing your fears. And do you see, I'm not even a little bit worried about this. It does not have to be so damn serious. And this is sort of a theme that's going on in my world right now. So, as we go through the show, we're going to talk about what fear really is, when you can use it for yourself, and when it can actually be creating a blockage. And what do you do? What do you do when you get into that sort of paralyzed place where you don't know what to do? You don't know how to take action. What do you do? Stick with us for today's show because you are going to find out. So, I would encourage you to grab yourself a pen and paper. In the third segment of the show, I'm going to give you some actual steps to go through, but there's going to be some good learning throughout. At least that's my intention. So on Time to Rise and Thrive, we talk about a lot of stuff. We talk about our subliminal soundtrack and how we can get that working for us rather than against us. We talk about seeing your unique beauty, value, and contribution to the world. And this is where, this fear thing can actually stop us from being all of that. So how about we just, hit it on the head and talk about it today and do some breaking through? What do you think? I'm excited. I'm excited. So today's show, what can you do when you find yourself in a state of fear? Fear for the future, fear for your family, fear for your finances. There are so many circumstances we face where fear is a perfectly natural thing to feel. It really is. But when we make it significant, that's the thing. When we make it significant, we can find ourselves paralyzed and unable to take any kind of action in any direction. It's one of those things that we need to be clear on it. So this is why it's so important for us to have this conversation today. We need to be clear on what it is and when it serves us and when it doesn't. All right. So I'm going to share with you, just in case you're new to the show, I'm going to share with you a bit of information right now so you have an understanding of who I am, what I do, why I'm here, why I feel the need to come on here and, shoot my mouth off for an hour every Friday. Other than the fact, of course, that I've got some amazing support team that make me laugh very often. Christine apparently has tears running down her face, and I'm not sure what running down her leg. I'm just saying. We have a lot of fun. We talk about some difficult subjects, but we have a lot of fun. And that's who I am. Really, that's who I am. So I'm Jackie Mott, mindset and empowerment expert. And what I do is I bring this whole different flavor to all of this mindset and empowerment stuff. We don't have to be stuck in the seriousness. It's not that this stuff's not serious, it's that we can have fun while we're working through our shit. We can have fun. We can have breakthroughs. We can celebrate. We can bring this energy to our lives when we are working through our stuff. That means that it can be joyful. It might not be easy, but it can still be joyful. So, what I do is I help people with shifting their mindsets, shifting their beliefs about themselves, and creating that empowerment so they can show up in a more confident way, so they can develop more courage and they can face the things in their lives that they need to face. And I will tell you that I know this sort of flies in the face of things, but for me, my goal as a coach is to provide support and tools so that my clients can get to those breakthroughs and don't need me anymore. That is my absolute intention going into any program, into any one-on-one coaching, is let's get you there. Let's get you the strength. Let's get you the courage and the confidence so you can face life without me. That is my goal. So now I'm going to share with you this thing called the subliminal soundtrack. So this is my shtick. This is my sort of terminology that I invented around this thing. We all have this thing that I call the subliminal soundtrack that runs in the back of our minds all day, every day. It is filled up with all kinds of information that we've picked up throughout the course of our lives. So every conversation you've ever had, every relationship you've ever had, every experience of your life has given you little bits of information that you've collected and you've stored back there on this subliminal soundtrack. Now, we use this information to actually create our belief systems about ourselves, about the world in general, about what we believe to be possible for us, for others. It's very, very important for us to know what's playing back there. And I'll give you the stat is somewhere between 60 and 80,000 thoughts run through our minds every single day. So that works out to somewhere in the neighborhood of about 50 per minute. I know because I did the math. So I don't know about you, but this shows me because there's no way that I can track 50 thoughts in a minute. It shows me that there's so much happening back there. So if we're not aware of what's going on in the back of our minds, just imagine. Just imagine. So this is one of my new favorite ways to explain this really clearly. So if I'm growing up and I have a mother who tells me every single January, February is the worst month of the year. It is the hardest month to get through. There is no happy, there is no joy in February. As I'm growing up, over the course of my life, I'm picking up this belief system from my mom. And if I don't get clear on the fact that, you know what, February is not that bad. And, there are some fun things that happen in February. What about Valentine's Day? There are some fun things, right? So if I just sort of have this belief and I don't really even know why, come January 15th or so, you can bet I will be bracing myself because February is just around the corner. I will be bracing myself and getting ready. Do you see what I'm saying? The fact of the matter is that there's nothing wrong with February. That is her belief system. She's a loving, kind woman, and I learned it from her. And it's so important for us to understand that most of the time, these things that we've picked up as little kids come from loving parents who have belief systems, or they could be teachers, whatever, but they have belief systems of their own. They have their own subliminal soundtrack that is influencing their belief systems and what they are bringing to the world. So, if I want to change this belief system, it's necessary for me to get clear on what's causing it and shift it. And we can do that with anything, with our beliefs about ourselves and our worth, with our beliefs about what it means to be loved or to love. What does it mean to have money or to not have money? Do you see what I'm saying? These belief systems affect our entire lives. So it's very, very important for us to get clear, for us to remove the ones that don't work for us and to create new ones that actually do support us in moving toward and creating the life of our dreams. So, that in a nutshell is what Jackie is all about. So, how does our subliminal soundtrack relate to this idea of fear? If you believe, if you believe that when you become afraid, when you start to feel that stuff popping up inside you, if you believe that we should stop and run away because there's something scary happening, okay, or hide or whatever it is. If you believe that that is what fear is all about, then you very likely are missing out on so many opportunities. You very likely are not going to take the chances or the risks or make the moves in your life to become the thing that you were born to be, to live the life that you were meant to live, to be the contribution to others that you were meant to be. Okay. But if you believe that fear is a perfectly natural reaction to changes in your circumstances, changes in your anything, if you believe that sometimes the opportunity is just on the other side of that fear, then you very likely are somebody who uses that fear to evaluate things, to get some clarity and be discerning on what's going on around you. And when it serves you, you will take those risks, you will make those moves that will lead you to better relationships, better careers, better feelings about your own self worth, all of that kind of stuff. Improve your money flows, all of it. So if you have the right subliminal mindset and the belief systems in place, you can propel yourself toward whatever future you want to create for yourself. Isn't that wonderful? Here's the thing: what we believe to be true will be true for us, even if it's based on completely incorrect information. Think about February, even if it's based on completely incorrect information. So that's how our subliminal mindset works. That's how it goes into this whole idea of fear. So now let's get into the meat of the show. And again, grab a pen and a paper if you can and make some notes, because I promise you this one I have crafted with a lot of thought. There's a lot of good information coming your way. So let's talk about what fear really is. What is it? So we're going to get into, in the next segment, we're going to get into sort of how can we tell the difference. But fear generally it's a response. I mean, it can be a red flag when we find ourselves in danger. You know, that danger, danger, Will Robinson thing that happened on the TV when I was a kid. It can be a response to a place of unfamiliarity or not knowing. So when we're going into a new life stage, when we are going into a new situation, new job, new career, new relationship, new city where we're moving, whatever, it's a perfectly natural thing to have some fear around that. Okay. Because we don't know. And that's really what it boils down to. We don't know. Fear can also be a response to an emotional trigger. So let's go back to February, for example. If I am bracing in January, I am having an emotional trigger to something that was said to me when I was young. We hear people talk about, for example, car accidents and how important it is, if you've been in a car accident, to get the person behind the wheel as soon as possible. Or if somebody falls off a horse, it's really important to get them back up there, because the fear of that happening again can be crippling. It can cause it to be very difficult for us to do the thing that caused whatever happened again. So it can be a response to a trigger. Okay. It can be just a sort of a flag or an indicator that there's something going on here that we need to pay attention to. There's something going on here. Okay. It can also be a sign that you are on the verge of a massive breakthrough. Wonderful thing when we can start to face our shit in a way that allows us to have the breakthrough. So sometimes when we are right on the verge of it, there's all kinds of emotion that will start to kick up, because, okay, here's the other deal about the mind. Our mind is created and designed to protect us. That is its main job: process information and protect us. So when we are on the verge of a major breakthrough, we're going into that unfamiliar territory. We are having a new belief system starting to show up for us. It is not abnormal for us to start to have these emotional reactions, because our mind's going, whoa, hold on, wait a second, something's different. Something's different. I don't know what that is. I don't have the information to process. Don't go there. Okay. So again, go back to that subliminal soundtrack. Are you allowing this to get in your way? Are you allowing it to be a block that you can't break through to get to the juicy, yummy wonderfulness that is on the other side of that? It's a very good question to ask yourself. So, fear can often be an indication that something is actually going to require a major change of us. So, again, new job, new relationship. We hear people talk about cold feet when people are getting married, right? That kind of thing. But it can also be excitement. Physiologically, there is not a whole lot of difference between fear and excitement. The same sorts of hormonal and whatever, all of that stuff, endocrine, I don't even know what language. You guys know, you're smart. So it can be that this is exciting. This is like, oh, what's going on? What's going on? What's happening? What's happening? What's happening? Right? It can be excitement, but it can sort of be disguised as fear. So very important for us to start to understand what happens in our beings and our bodies, which is why we're going to go into that in the next segment. The last thing that I want to share with you on this right now, on this, what fear really is. So I talked last week, I think it was, about horses, and horses are attuned. They must be, because they are prey animals. Okay. So they are attuned very much with their surroundings, with the people and other animals that come into their space. They are attuned, and they are sort of wired to feel shifts in the energy, shifts in things, to sense something coming even before they can hear, see, smell. They're attuned to that because they have to be, because it's that I need to get out of here because there's a big bad wolf coming my way, or whatever the case may be. Do you understand what I'm saying? So we are also wired that way, although we don't often talk about that intuitive side, that part of ourselves that is energetic. But I promise you, if you actually give yourself a chance, you can start to tap into this side of yourself where you can start to sense these things about people, about situations, about where to go and where not to go, all of that kind of stuff. So we are going to head to our first break. I told you this one was going to be juicy. I told you. We're going to head to our first break now. You're with me on Time to Rise and Thrive on Inspired Choices Network. I'm your host, Jackie Mott. Stick with us for just a minute. We will be back talking about this whole idea of what is fear, when does it serve you, and when is it creating a blockage. We will be right back.
What do you tell yourself when you're not listening? This question came to Jackie Mott when she was trying to find peace and purpose in the wake of tragedy. She began to understand that a lot of her pain and choices had been the result of how she perceived herself and her place in the world. And she set about creating a new subliminal soundtrack that would support her in creating a life of abundance, joy, and fulfillment. To learn more about how she did that and how you can do the same, join Jackie on her radio show, Time to Rise and Thrive, every Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern, 12 noon Central, 11 a.m. Mountain, and 10 a.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
Are you a subject matter expert? Are you here to share your expertise with an audience waiting to hear from you in only the way you can deliver? Are you ready to have your voice amplified across the airwaves? Inspired Choices Network has a global radio platform streaming to millions of people across the world. Professionally produced and supported by an accomplished team every step of the way, you can broadcast from anywhere in the world, knowing your voice matters, and we ensure it is delivered with ease and efficiency. Eager to hear your message, the world awaits. Contact us today to become an Inspired Choices Network radio host. Email become a host at inspiredchoicesnetwork.com.
This is the Time to Rise and Thrive show with mindset coach and facilitator of change, Jackie Mott. To participate in the program, join our live studio audience in our chat room at inspiredchoicesnetwork.com. For more information, visit phoenixcoach.ca, where you can follow Phoenix Coaching online. Now, back to the program.
Hello and welcome back to Time to Rise and Thrive on Inspired Choices Network. I'm your host, Jackie Mott, and today we are talking about facing your fears and breaking through. So in this segment of the show, pardon me, in this segment of the show, I want to share with you some ideas about how you can determine whether the thing that's coming up for you is a fear that you need to pay attention to because maybe there's a dangerous situation, or whether it's something that is going to create a blockage. And when it's creating a blockage, you have a choice. I have no opinion on what your choices are. If you choose to break through, wonderful. If you choose to stay where you are, wonderful. I have absolutely no opinion about this. But if you're someone who is on this sort of journey of growth and you're getting stuck on this fear thing, I'm gonna share with you some very important information about how you can get to these breakthroughs. All right. So how do we know the difference? How do we know the difference between the fear that is the contribution to us and the fear that is going to hinder us? So they feel very different. They feel very, very different. So the fear that is a contribution will cause us to have a physical reaction. Okay. So sometimes that's going to show up as like your intuition. You can sort of feel something tingling, or it's going to show up differently for different people, but you're going to have that feeling about something. You're going to have that sense that just wait, like we talked about with the horses. Okay. So it's that spidey sense thing where you're picking up on something and you may not even be able to identify what it is, but you have that sort of like, Something is wrong here. Something is not right. Okay? Or this is a person that I need to be careful about. This is a person that I don't know them and there's something that feels off, or this particular situation. Again, all of that kind of stuff, okay? It can show up as goosebumps or your hair standing up on the back of your neck. You get that like, hmm. You know what I'm talking about? Everybody's got their own way of feeling and sensing these things. It is a sense that something is wrong. Okay? And it may show up in your body, it may show up in your being, however it shows up for you. The blockages will often cause us to have a much more emotional reaction. So the triggers or the things that are coming up where it's a fear about taking a different direction, about moving into a new relationship, about taking a chance that maybe will be a really good thing for you, but you're not sure. That's going to show up very often as more of an emotional reaction than a physical one. Excuse me, guys. I got a tickle in my throat today. So that can show up as like the monkey chatter, that like, and you can't shut your brain off. You're worried. You're just chewing over things over and over and over again, and you can't quite let it go. That's one way this shows up. Obsessing over everything that might go wrong. Maybe you're trying to convince yourself not to do it. Do you see what I'm saying? So we're focusing on what could happen that could not be fun, that could hurt my feelings, that could, whatever the case may be. Okay. And just a general tension in your body. This is where I was talking about this. Like it could show up as excitement. There's just this sort of general tingly tension sort of in your body, but some tension is actually fun. Hmm. Some tension is good and playful, and it will take us to a good place. Like, I don't know, having a major breakthrough or maybe even an orgasm. I don't know. I don't know. I'm just saying some tension can be good. All right. So, is it showing up more as a physical reaction or is it showing up more as an emotional reaction? These are some of the things that we need to pay attention to. Play with it. Okay. Play with it and get into that. Like, what is happening here? Pay attention to what it is that you're sensing. Pay attention to what you're feeling, whether it's a body response, whether it's an emotional response. Pay attention to what's happening. Okay. Because you are the only person who can figure this out for yourself because it will show up very differently for different people. So you've got to pay attention to your own stuff. What happens when you feel this way? What is going on when you're feeling this way? Think back to times when you may have felt exactly the same way in your history. Think back to those times because what you're going to do is you're going to be able to go, oh, okay. So, when I felt this way, I did not take that action. And in reality, that action would have been a huge mistake, but I didn't know it at the time. Or I didn't take action and I really wish that I had. So, do you see the difference? One is that thing that we need to listen to, that we need to pay attention to because it is that red flag that is hopping up and waving for us and saying, "Hello, pay attention." And one is our own internal stuff, that stuff on your subliminal soundtrack that is actually going to cause you to not take action when taking action might be exactly the thing that you need to do. So, getting to this place of understanding when I felt this way, this is what was going on, and this was the result, whether it was positive, whether it was negative. Okay. You could even go to, okay, I felt that way. I didn't listen to it, and something really bad happened. Because here's the thing, like a lot of times, there's no way for us to know, particularly if you're going into a new relationship or a new situation or whatever, work, whatever. There's no way for us to know sometimes what is going on behind the scenes until we involve ourselves. Okay. This is why it's really important to get that spidey sense thing going and to almost hone our intuition and our sense for what could be on the other side of that. Okay. Because maybe the job looks fantastic. The pay is great. The hours are great. There's benefits. There's all kinds of wonderful opportunities for you there. But it's a completely toxic environment and nobody manages to last there for more than a couple of months. And usually they run screaming from the building. Do you see what I'm saying? We may not know that, but there's something in us that is sort of caution, be careful. This is bad. This is not good. Don't go in that direction. Okay. So paying attention, honing this, it's the spidey sense. I will never, ever forget my son. He was a teenager and we were living out west in Alberta. He had started at the high school and he brought one of the guys over that he'd met. And he introduced us. We spent not very long with this young man. I think they were going someplace, but he introduced us. And I remember saying to him after I'd met him a couple of times, I'm like, there's something that I'm sensing about this. So please just, pay attention. Just pay attention. I'm not saying he's a bad guy. I'm just getting this sort of feeling. Mm. And it didn't take long. I think it might have been a couple of weeks later when he came to me and he was like, you know, when I listen to you, when you do that, when I listen to you, you're always right. You're always right. This is what happened. And it wasn't a really great situation that had popped up in that situation. So we need to hone it. We need to get to the place where we understand what our signals are, what they mean, and what to do when they pop up. Do you see what I'm saying? It's very important for us to get clarity on this. There's a book. Steve Harvey, I believe, is the person that wrote the book, and I absolutely love it. He's the guy. He's a comedian. He's a speaker, and he has what is this show? Family Feud. He's the host of Family Feud, or he was. I don't know what he's doing anymore, but um, he went on his show at the end of his show one time. They thankfully had not stopped recording, so the cameras were still rolling, and he got into this place where it was like preaching almost from a very powerful place. And he was talking about you must jump. And he's written a book. I've read the book. It's fantastic. I believe it's just called Jump. Look it up. If you're looking for some inspiration or whatever, he comes from it or he comes at it from a place of God and belief systems and whatever. Maybe that fits for you, maybe it doesn't. And very often, if it doesn't, take what you can from it because there's probably still a good message there somewhere. Anyway, so I read this book, Jump, and I watched the video of him, and that was what prompted me to find his book because he's talking about how, we can stand on the edge of the cliff forever. We can stand there and stay safe. And when we actually take that leap, it's very likely going to bang us up. We're likely going to get our feelings hurt. He talks about it from the point of view of the cliff. And he said, um, sometimes we'll get banged around pretty badly before our parachute will open. But the thing is that it's on the other side of that jump where everything that you want lives. Everything that you want, the success, the money, the relationships, the work, the feeling of fulfillment with what you do. And I promise you, if you have followed my show at all, if you know my story at all, I promise you, this is a story that I can actually confirm. I can confirm. I stayed in that comfort place for a long, long time, long time. And then eventually somebody pushed me out of the nest. And I am so freaking grateful. I am so grateful. Hurt like hell. Broke my heart, broke me into a million pieces, destroyed my life. And if it hadn't happened, I would never have been able to pick up those pieces and put them back in a way that they fit better for me. I wouldn't have been able to build a life that brings me so much fulfillment and so much joy. I would not be doing this show today. I would not be doing the work that I do. I would not be excited about my life. So thank you for kicking my ass out of that nest. Thank you. Gratitude beyond measure. Thank you. All right. So, with that, my friends, we are going to head to our next break. Oh, before I do, jump, take the leap of faith to achieve your life of abundance. Thank you, Christine. That's the name of the book. Steve Harvey, look it up. It is a good read. And it's not a hard read either. It's not a hard read at all. All right. So, you are with me on Time to Rise and Thrive on Inspired Choices Network. I'm your host, Jackie Mott. And when we come back, we are going to go through those steps. So, if you haven't already, make sure you grab a pen and paper and get ready to write this stuff down. I promise you it'll help. All right, so stick with us for just a minute. We will be right back.
What do you tell yourself when you're not listening? This question came to Jackie Mott when she was trying to find peace and purpose in the wake of tragedy. She began to understand that a lot of her pain and choices had been the result of how she perceived herself and her place in the world. And she set about creating a new subliminal soundtrack that would support her in creating a life of abundance, joy, and fulfillment. To learn more about how she did that and how you can do the same, join Jackie on her radio show, Time to Rise and Thrive, every Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern, 12 noon Central, 11 a.m. Mountain, and 10 a.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
What do you tell yourself when you're not listening? Our subliminal soundtrack plays in the back of our minds 24/7. It's filled with everything we've ever learned about money, relationships, body, and sexuality, about every single aspect of our lives. If you don't have what you desire, the Subliminal Soundtrack Reset program may be the very key to changing it all. In this 8-week program, designed by Jackie Mott, you'll learn to replace messages that stop your desires with new ones that not only support you in creating what you truly desire, but expand your life to higher levels of joy and pleasure. Go to phoenixcoach.ca today to sign up and begin creating your life on purpose.
How wonderful would it be to carry your favorite Inspired Choices Network host with you throughout your day? Well, now you can. Inspired Choices Network now has its very own mobile app. Our free app offers live streaming shows, along with thousands of podcasts and TV episodes. Our shows cover a wide variety of topics. Whether you're waking up with us, carrying us through the day, and taking us to bed with you, we're always here for you to enjoy. We're easy to find. Just search for Inspired Choices Network in the Apple App Store or Google Play Store.
This is the Time to Rise and Thrive show with mindset coach and facilitator of change, Jackie Mott. To participate in the program, join our live studio audience in our chat room at InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. For more information, visit phoenixcoach.ca, where you can follow Phoenix Coaching online. Now, back to the program.
Hello and welcome back to Time to Rise and Thrive on Inspired Choices Network. I am so blessed. I just want to say thank you to two beautiful women who are supporting me on the show today. Christine is our sort of fearless leader, and she's with us because she's training Haley. So I want to welcome Haley to the group. I'm so excited to create some fun stuff with you. I'm so glad you're here with us. And Christine is purposely, I'm going to tell you, she's a bit of a shit disturber, which she just acknowledged in the chat room. And her purpose is always to make me laugh. Always to make me laugh, and it works hugely. So thank you, ladies. Thank you for the energy you bring, and thank you for the laughter, Christine. I love it. I love it. Oh, Haley says, thanks, Jackie. I am feeling the fear right now. Good girl. Good girl. You are doing great. You've got this. You've got some amazing people around you. You can, oh, honey, thank you for acknowledging that. I'm so proud of you. You've got this. You've got this. This is an amazing opportunity. You've got an amazing team of people that I've known for a long time that are working with you. And, you know, people like me that show up and make some fun sometimes. Yeah, you've got this. You've got this. All right. So welcome back again to Time to Rise and Thrive. Your host, Jackie Mott, with Christine and Haley in the rear helping me out here. Thank you both so much for being with us. So I've got a couple of really exciting things to share with you. First and foremost, the new website that I started talking about a long time ago is right there. We are literally right on the edge of this launch. I am so excited. And I want to share with you something kind of funny. It's not funny, but it's funny. This has taken a long time. And what I realized really recently, like a week ago, is the reason that it's taken a long time was because I had gotten sort of caught up in something. We created this brand for me, this beautiful woman and I, we created this brand for me a few months ago. And when I was working with that brand, it was wonderful. I liked it. It was uh, all like professional and stuff, it was all professional and stuff. And then a few months ago, I had this massive breakthrough in my personal healing. And what I realized last week was the reason that the website was delayed, thank you, universe, was because the branding did not fit me. It did not fit. You can see me. I'm not serious. I'm smart. I am smart and I will help you and I will guide you to those breakthroughs. I will help you get there. Absolutely. I'm very good at what I do. And the whole serious thing doesn't fit me very well. That is the truth. Oh, and Christine says I'm a smartass. She's absolutely right. If you haven't picked up on that, then I'm not sure what show you're watching. But anyway, so the branding was off, and that was the reason for the delays. So Brent, my guy, is on it. We've got the new branding, and a friend of mine, Lisa, has been helping me with the graphics, and man, it is such a better fit. So the new name of the business is just me. It's just me. Jackie Mott, mindset and empowerment expert. It is fantastic. It fits me like a glove. It allows me to bring my magic to this world in whatever way feels right for me. And it's wonderful. So the website is launching. There is a guidebook on there called what is it? 5 steps to create a mindset wired for success. I've rewritten it. It is brilliant. I'm just saying it's brilliant. Gives you some like really good steps and good information on how to start the process. If you find yourself in a position where you are going through a transformation, where you are feeling stuck, where you're not sure what's going on back there, but you know that there's something holding you back, please, please take me up on the offer of a complimentary discovery call with me. Go to www.bookacallwithjackie.com. www.bookacallwithjackie.com. The new website will have that information. It is living at jackiemott.com. Funny story, really quick before we get into the rest of the show. Funny story. I was beside myself last week. I went to GoDaddy to try to find this jackiemott.com Earl, yeah, whatever. I don't even know what this stuff is called. And it was taken. And I was like, oh no, what am I going to call myself? What am I going to do here? And then I go into my account and I find that I'm the actual owner of. So, you know, smart. I know, smart. Yeah. Anyway, so now let's get back to the reason you're here. Let's get back to the stuff that we're talking about today. So, what do we do when we find ourselves with the fear is coming up, the emotional reactions are coming up, the physical reactions are coming up? What do we do? Because fight or flight, right? Fight or flight. So, one of the things with the flight thing is we hide. We hide from the circumstances that are causing us to have that emotional reaction. And when we hide from it, then we avoid the breakthroughs. Let's be honest, if you're being chased by a saber-toothed tiger, hide. For God's sake, hide. Okay. But if it's not a danger situation, what do? You're paralyzed. You know that you need to make a decision. You know that you need to move forward in some direction. What do? Here we go. Ready? Got your pen? Here we go. First thing is to recognize that it's fear. Again, this can show up in all kinds of different ways. So you've been working on honing your spidey senses, your intuition, your whatever. So the first thing is to recognize that this is fear that's coming up and what's happening in your body. Okay. That's the first step, to recognize it and acknowledge it. So stop and go, okay, so this is fear. Now, what's this about? What's this about? The next thing, the next step, ask what it's trying to show you. So is it indicating danger? There's that saber-toothed tiger. I better get up that tree, right? Is it indicating danger? Is it indicating a necessary change? Because I promise you what I just said before the break, that point where I was booted out of the nest and had to figure out on my way down how I was going to grow those wings. Okay? That change had been necessary for a long time, but it was my comfort zone to stay in that situation, in that nest. Do you understand what I'm saying? So there was a necessary change that needed to happen for me to get to where I'm at right now. That had to happen, right? A necessary change, but it triggered those fears. It triggered those fears. Is it indicating a brilliant new thing that will cause you to grow, to become something better and different and somebody that you can fall more in love with? Mm-mm. What's it trying to show you? Ask the fear. Ask yourself, what are you sensing? What is this about? And see what comes to you. Third step, take action if necessary. So again, if it is something that there is imminent danger, if you have a sense of something is very, very wrong, listen to that, okay? It's important to recognize it and take action to avoid or eliminate whatever that dangerous situation might be. So, to illustrate this, I want to share when I was young, Oprah Winfrey, I think everybody knows who she is. She already had her show going when I was a teenager. And I remember one day being home for whatever reason that day, and she had a show on, and there was a girl who had been kidnapped. Now, thank God she had survived, but there was a girl who had been kidnapped, and she talked about having this sense of don't get into that vehicle. Don't get into that vehicle. There's something wrong here. Don't get into that vehicle. But, whatever the story was, maybe it was a person who was like, oh, I've lost my dog, or I need your help with whatever. She had the sense something was wrong, but she shut that down and listened to the mind in the like, I need to help this person, because that had come up for her. And she got into the car and she ended up being kidnapped and taken away and almost killed. So I will never forget that show, because Oprah was talking about um, we need to learn how to trust our gut. We are conditioned to not trust our gut, and we put ourselves sometimes in very bad situations or dangerous situations because we're trying to be polite, maybe we're trying to be helpful, maybe we're trying to be whatever it is, but we have to learn to listen to our gut. So when you find yourself in that space where you have this impending danger, don't walk down that alley. If you have the feeling when you're about to go into a certain place, something's wrong here, skedaddle, get the hell out of there, okay? Because that very well could be some sort of spidey sense that's giving you that message to get out of there for your own safety. Step 4. If it's an indication of a big thing, an opportunity, then you want to sit with it. You want to sit with it because you need to discern, is this one of those feelings of, oh, this job looks beautiful on the outside, and why can't they keep anybody for more than 6 months? Do you see what I'm saying? Be discerning, sit with it a little bit, figure out what it is that it's trying to tell you, what maybe you need to be aware of, need to pay attention to. Do you need more information? Do you need to ask some questions? Do you need to find a person who used to work there or does work there now and get the scoop, right? So figure out if it's an indication of something that you need to be cautious about, or if it's that thing that is afraid of a new thing, afraid of stepping out of our comfort zone because it is a new situation and we don't have the information to tell us what it is. Sit with that for a little bit and see what comes up. If you still stay in that place where it's like, this doesn't feel good and you can't seem to get past it, then avoid it. But if it feels like if you start to get that, this could be really good. This could be really good for me. Then you acknowledge that the fear is actually one of those blockages, and you just say thank you. Just say thank you. Talk to it. Acknowledge it and move forward anyway. Acknowledge it and move forward anyway. Say thank you. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for being here with me. I've got this. I don't need your help. Thank you. Do you see what I'm saying? Like Haley. Like Haley is doing right now. She is learning new skills and showing up, and I'm sure that she's going to be amazing in this role. I'm so excited she's here with us. So that's your 5 steps on what to do. I'm getting the finger. It's time to go to break. So, you are with me on Time to Rise and Thrive on Inspired Choices Network. I am your host, Jackie Mott. Today, we are talking about facing your fears and breaking through. In our next segment, we will wrap up this conversation. So stick with us for just a minute. We'll be right back.
What do you tell yourself when you're not listening? This question came to Jackie Mott when she was trying to find peace and purpose in the wake of tragedy. She began to understand that a lot of her pain and choices had been the result of how she perceived herself and her place in the world. And she set about creating a new subliminal soundtrack that would support her in creating a life of abundance, joy, and fulfillment. To learn more about how she did that and how you can do the same, join Jackie on her radio show, Time to Rise and Thrive, every Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern, 12 noon Central, 11 a.m. Mountain, and 10 a.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
What do you tell yourself when you're not listening? Our subliminal soundtrack plays in the back of our minds 24/7. It's filled with everything we've ever learned about money, relationships, body, and sexuality, about every single aspect of our lives. If you don't have what you desire, the Subliminal Soundtrack Reset program may be the very key to changing it all. In this 8-week program, designed by Jackie Mott, you'll learn to replace messages that stop your desires with new ones that not only support you in creating what you truly desire, but expand your life to higher levels of joy and pleasure. Go to phoenixcoach.ca today to sign up and begin creating your life on purpose.
This is the Time to Rise and Thrive show with mindset coach and facilitator of change, Jackie Mott. To participate in the program, join our live studio audience in our chat room at inspiredchoicesnetwork.com. For more information, visit phoenixcoach.ca, where you can follow Phoenix Coaching online. Now, back to the program.
Hello and welcome back to Time to Rise and Thrive on Inspired Choices Network. I'm your host, Jackie Mott. Today we are talking about facing your fear and breaking through. Yummy stuff, man. Yummy stuff. Everything that you want can be on the opposite end of fear. So what do we do to break through that, right? What do we break through? Yeah, it's fantastic. All right. So we're down to the last sort of few minutes of the show, and I've got a few final thoughts that I'd like to share with you. The first one is this. There's a thing called resilience, and a lot of people don't seem to really understand this terribly well. But the thing about resilience is that you have learned from everything that has ever gone wrong in your life. All right. You have learned something. Hopefully, you have taken that learning, incorporated it into your world, and used that wisdom to become smarter and better and maybe more intuitive, whatever it is. All right. So you have a 100% success rate of surviving everything that has ever happened to you. How do I know that? I know that because you're still breathing. You're still here. That's all I need to know. You have a 100% success rate. All right. So even these things that can be challenging, even these things that feel like we've screwed things up, we've made a mistake. Maybe you took that job. Maybe you took that job. You left something that was comfortable and paid well and all of that kind of stuff. Maybe you left that place and went to that job where you jumped right into the toxic mess. And now it's 6 months later and you're going, oh my, what do I do? I need to pay my bills. Right? And it's happened to all of us. There are situations that happen. It happens to everybody. All right. So don't don't pick up the stick and beat yourself over the head. You might need to make some hard choices to fix the situation. You might have something that just shows up that will give you some place to go to. It could be any number of things. So don't be hopeless. Don't beat yourself up. If you find yourself in a position where you've stepped in it, you'll get yourself out. And I know this because you always have. You are still here. You are still breathing. Okay? There are no mistakes. I know it flies in the face of everything that I've ever been taught, but there are no mistakes. What if everything that you have ever done, every decision you've ever made, every lesson you've ever learned, every single time you have fallen flat on your butt, what if that has given you information that you needed in order to move forward in your life, in order to build healthier relationships or a healthier perception of yourself, in order to fall in love with yourself, in order to create the life that you really, really desire to have and you deserve? What if every misstep has been part of the path that needed to lead you to where you want to go? Huh. What if? Because each of those things have caused a learning and a wisdom to come to you that wouldn't have been there without them. That's the truth. And that's what I'd like to leave you with today. Consider that. Just consider that. So, quote to leave you with is this: fear is one of the demons you need to learn to dance with. There are times when it's helpful and times when it will hinder you and hold you back. Awareness will come when you learn to acknowledge and understand when it's a contribution and when it's a block. You already know, even if you don't know that yet. Pay attention and use your fear to guide you and propel you toward the things that are right for you. That's it, my friends. That's what I've got for you today. Thank you so much for joining me on Inspired Choices Network on Time to Rise and Thrive today. I have to tell you, this is my most favorite time of the week. I absolutely love this. This hour flies by. And, with people like Christine and Haley with me, how could it not? I have so much fun. I appreciate your time. I appreciate your presence and your contribution to my world just by being part of this. So thank you so much for that. We will be back next Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern, 12 noon Central, 11 Mountain Time, and 10 Pacific. Next week's show is called Integrity, Authenticity, and Standing in Your Truth. We're going to be talking about how learning this skill and implementing it in your life is essential to honoring you and building a life where you are actually in alignment with yourself. There's so many wonderful things that are going on in my world. Don't forget to find us on Facebook. It's called Jackie Mott Mindset and Empowerment Expert is the new name of the page on Facebook. The new website again is jackiemott.com, and Mott is with two T's. You can go there to book a call with me. You can go there to see about our programs. You can go there to see all kinds of stuff on Facebook. I've gotten back into doing things these little videos, these little bite-sized videos that I do they're called mindful moments. So this morning's was actually really funny because, believe it or not, I was talking about dill pickles and beetles. That was our mindful moment for today. So you can find all kinds of stuff on there. Some of it's funny, some of it's serious, some of it's just a general thought that I'm having. But yeah, find us on Facebook, follow us there. Christine's trying to get me into doing all of these other social media things that I'm really not comfortable with. I don't really understand them very well. Maybe I'll get there, but for right now, you can find us on Facebook at Jackie Mott, Mindset and Empowerment Expert. And yeah, we've got all kinds of new stuff coming up. So stick with us. Come back and see us next week and the week after that. There's always great content, or at least what I believe will be a contribution to the people who are called to listen to the show. Thanks again so much for joining me today. And don't forget, we're back next week. I just love doing it again. And I should probably say this has been Time to Rise and Thrive on Inspired Choices Network. I am your host, Jackie Mott, Mindset and Empowerment Coach. I just love being with you. I can't say that enough. Haley, thank you so much for being here with us today. And same to you, Christine. Have a great week, everybody.
Thank you for joining us for Time to Rise and Thrive radio show. Jackie Mott will return next Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 12 noon Central, 11 a.m. Mountain, and 10 a.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. We hope you'll join us. Have a fantastic week, and remember, it's your time to rise and thrive.